Welcome back to Real Repairs for Real Customers. In parts 1 and 2, we discussed the importance of mental and physical energy in order to achieve a molecular bonding energy or a physical mechanical bonding energy that we call adhesion. And in the scientific world, they write it as the energy of adhesion. Meaning that if we're having a problem with adhesion, we could substitute the word energy into that statement as we're looking for a solution. Where am I lacking energy? And when we find the step where we were lacking our energy, there's your answer. We concluded part 2 with discussing the importance of eating and taking in those energy packets that are called calories. And certainly, if someone did not have a good diet of good calories, then when they got to the job site, they would be lacking energy. And what's the first thing that they would want to skip over? It's the step requiring the most energy output, the cleaning and prep. And we saw how that was demonstrated, how people would spray over top of the dirt. Then someone else would have to come along and spend the energy that they didn't spend just to undo what they did, and then go about the proper cleaning and prep. And the end result was perhaps they would lose the account, and the account would be given to the person willing to expend that kind of energy to do the job properly. But here in our third and final segment, we would like to lighten up a little bit and take another fun look, applying what we've already discussed in the previous 2 segments. Now imagine that you are at a residence and the homeowner there asks you, "What can I clean my couch with?" Well, meet just such a homeowner. We'll call her Cindy, because that's her name. So when someone asks you, "What can I clean my couch with?" well, the first question you have is what kind of a couch? And we can look at this couch and see instantly that it is a protected leather, right? It is a pigmented polymer top coat on this leather. So that's good because remember, we're trying to keep our focus, trying to keep a simple approach on this series of cleaning and prep. Other kinds of leather will require separate videos to discuss the particulars of that. But let's keep our focus here. And we have this protected leather then. So the next thing we would be asking ourselves is what could we suggest to the homeowner? Well, in our minds, perhaps we have compartmentalized cleaning, let's say into 3 categories. We have a maintenance cleaning, and we have a remedial cleaning, that is, cleaning on a surface that has a problem. And then we have what we've been discussing is our cleaning and prep with a view to recoloring. Of course, the homeowner is not looking to recolor, and that's a very aggressive step we've been talking about with aggressive chemicals and procedures. So we're not going to talk about that. Well, how about maintenance cleaning? Well, typically, maintenance cleaning would involve vacuuming, dusting, or wiping up a spill, just something incidental. And there are thousands of products being sold in attractive containers to play on your heartstrings for that kind of cleaning. But that's not going to solve the problem here. And why not? Well, because when we get asked, what can I use for cleaning my couch? Likely that question arises because we have a more serious cleaning situation. We're probably talking about a remedial cleaning. Well, can we recommend that the homeowner use our products? Well, we've already seen that so-called professionals in the industry can ruin the leather finish. They can ruin the leather because they don't have good judgment. So the homeowner is not going to have the judgment then of an experienced field technician. So what kind of products can we recommend? Something that the homeowner already has. And so what we've done in this situation, and we're going to come back to this, but I've gathered some products that the customer already had and offered to do a section of the couch as an example to show her how to get it done. And so this is what we ended up with. So anyway, I got to doing this, and Cindy is telling me about how she hurt her arm at work. She works for the Parks Department, and there's some very heavy-duty work there, so she injured her arm. And I'm thinking, this is a very large couch, and she probably shouldn't be using her arm that much. And then I was thinking, who am I kidding? This is a huge couch, and she shouldn't be using her arm at all until it's healed. So I offered this proposition. How about if I finish cleaning your couch for free? Free is good. As one of my customers says, what's sweeter than honey? Free vinegar. So I offered her to clean her couch for free if we could in turn bring the camera in and video everything. And let's start from the very beginning with the products and video the entire cleaning of the couch. And she can say whatever she wants to say when we're finished. And so this is what we found. So I asked if she had any degreaser in the house. And sure enough, she has degreaser, and it's called Dawn dish soap. That's good for cleaning the grease off of dishes, right? And pots and pans. So we have our degreaser. And look, right there in front of us is a scrubbing pad too for the dishes. We have a foam pad sponge here with one side that's abrasive. We can use that. And how about any alcohol? Do you have any alcohol in the house? Because I'm surely going to need a drink. Yes. Okay, we have alcohol. We have some 70% isopropyl alcohol for cleanup. So now we can get started. So one thing we want to do here is to put this terry cloth towel down to catch any runoff from the backrest, because we don't know for sure if that water is going to go down and stain something. Let's just catch it here as a preventative measure. Plus we won't be staining the seat bottom here. By the way, Cindy made a great purchase on this used couch. And when you saw how dirty that center section was, and the grime was uniform over all the panels, that's an indication of dogs soiling the couch. And sure enough, Cindy said that the previous owners had a couple of dogs, so our observation was correct. So we are employing all of the same techniques that we used in our previous two segments of this cleaning and prep, only a more moderate approach. But look, even then, we are attaining a high energy surface. So we could actually recolor at this stage if we needed to. Now, what's the importance in this case of using alcohol as a prep if we're not recoloring? Well, remember, we want to remove any traces of degreaser, right? Because the degreaser on one end is hydrophilic. It wants to attach to water. On the other end, it wants to attach to grease and oil. That's the hydrophobic end. And so if we leave degreaser on the surface, it will attract more oil and grease. So we don't want any residual cleaner attracting more dirt later. So it's important that we rinse. You could rinse it off with a hose and be fine. Of course, it's not practical, but we want a good rinsing. We want a good washing after the degreaser step. So the alcohol does a good job. Also, alcohol is an organic solvent, meaning that if there are any traces of something that a water-based cleaner cannot remove, but where you require an organic solvent, then the isopropyl alcohol should be sufficient to take off these things. Perhaps ink would be a good example, or a shoe scuff. Maybe something light across the surface that the water-based cleaner couldn't touch, the organic solvent, and in this case, the milder alcohol might clean up all of that as well on the same step. And then finally, it has the ability to dry out the surface. Remember, the alcohol will gobble up any water, any moisture that's left on the panel, and it'll cause that panel to dry out quicker than if we had just left it water. And so that way the water doesn't stand on the leather finish quite as long. So those are the three things that the alcohol in this case still provides, and it's so interesting that it still tacks up the surface temporarily. It opens up the surface, so we could even have recolored at that point. But then once the alcohol is gone, the surface closes back up, and now it's ready to be sat on immediately. So how is this demonstration valuable to us as a mobile repair technician? Well, perhaps we want to get into a little bit of remedial cleaning from time to time, and we see how easy that is in this case. But more importantly than that, this proves the concept that we had in parts 1 and 2. We know the theory, we know the chemistry, we know the physics, and we've seen it work out with the products that we're accustomed to using. Now all of a sudden we have to suggest other products. Will they work? Well, we know the basic properties of these other products, the degreaser, the scuff pad, and the 70% alcohol. So we can be pretty sure that they will work. And like in any scientific method, you have the theory and you make a hypothesis, and then you have to do the experimentation to see if it works. And in this case, the experimentation proved our theory. And so we have what's called a proof of concept job here. And that's important because that builds our confidence that what we've discussed is really true and it really works. And especially when we're talking to the customer, if we're 100% positive about what we're doing, that kind of attitude will show through. We'll exude that sort of confidence, and the customer will put trust in what we're saying. So that's how that can be especially beneficial to us.
I am very pleased with the results. I can't believe that I can get these results with materials that I have at home. I have spent hours trying to clean this with a kit that I got from the furniture store, which did absolutely nothing. I'm amazed.
So in closing, I certainly appreciate you enduring these 3 parts on cleaning and prep. And we'd also like to give a heartfelt thanks to Cindy for allowing the repair community into her home, and also for taking this negative that was her injury and turning it into a positive teaching moment for all of us.